budget meeting on Wednesday, June 6, 2018, from the Community Center, 361 Morton Street. Please rise to the pledge of allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Nice.
Oh, I got Megan one.
How you feeling?
Well, that's your DEA.
Pretty good. The weather is helping a lot.
Roll.
Bartholomew?
Here.
Edwards, absent. Fowler, absent. Hart?
Yep.
Elzon?
Here.
Poznansky?
Here.
President Siegel?
Present. I got approval of the agenda.
So moved. Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? New business.
All right. So we're going to finish off the budget today. General fund, motor pool, retirement health care, in addition to our new fund of OPEB trust fund. You don't have a sheet on that, but we'll discuss it through the docs. Okay. So we'll start at the top here. Delinquent property tax is $3,000. Property taxes coming in is $2,060,403. Community stabilization of $313,547. Grant money coming in $1,500. The CVTRS, which is standard across the board for the next I don't know, maybe decade, is $81,605. Constitutional revenue sharing of $303. That's $303,000. Liquor licenses $3,400. Admin fee of $100. Police violations of $60,000. Drug confiscation of $2,500. Interest earned, we're budgeted for $11,000. Nothing for fixed assets or funds. Miscellaneous revenue of $15,000. Mail and labeling $200. Appropriation for the previous year's fund balance, that's the $350,000 that we talked about, which will be opening up that fund for the OPEB trust fund. Transfer of cable, $30,000. Moving all the way down, the transfer of $100,000 will be going in at the end of this fiscal year. Okay, that was that borrow from the sewer 2 years ago, or a year ago. So we budgeted for that and that'll go in. We just want to make sure that everything's okay for the next quarter at the wastewater treatment plant. Accumulated revenues of $3.255 million. Elected official salaries of $16,200. Salary of village president $3,500. Social Security of $15,000. Fringe benefits of $50,000. Memberships and dues of $3,500. Education and training $0. Miscellaneous of $100. $24,850. Moving down, contracted services for elections, because we have election this year, $2,500. Village clerk, $40,000. Administrator, $30,000. Social Security, $5,400. That's my buyout, no life insurance or hospitalization of $2,650. Fringe benefits that's workers' comp of $175. Office supplies of $100. Membership dues of $100. Telephone of $3. $0 for publishing, printing and publishing. Miscellaneous of $400.
Now, one question going back now, should that OPEB actually be revenue?
What's up?
The way it's coming over like it's new income when it's being transferred over?
That is use of previous year's funds revenue that's coming into that general fund account. I discussed it with the auditors. To make
Okay,
sure
so that's how, because I see it as revenue, so it will
Yeah.
be seen as revenue?
It'll be seen as revenue coming in, okay, from previous year's balance.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll see it at the very end of the general fund. If you go to page,
That's fine, if you want, I don't want to take you out of order.
it's not a big deal. But if you go to the page 8, That's the new account of 99.800, which is the OPEB trust fund. That'll be a transfer out.
Okay.
Okay. But yeah, we have to implement it into the previous fund revenues there. Okay. I switched it.
And then any comments on what we're seeing as far as what the state's kicking in compared to, community stabilization?
No, it's still,
Came in
we
at
budgeted low again, just to make sure to keep us.
So you have that's just a
We don't-
reckoning? Right,
Yeah,
reckoning.
and we're, like we said, we're always in that win because the county, because all the businesses have to supply an affidavit for a waiver of the personal property tax.
Mhm.
They were late this year, which then the state gave them another month, which the county was behind a month, and then we were pushed out on any type of revenue coming in. So they really don't.
The 300, do you feel that's good?
300 is good.
That's good.
No matter what, anything positive is going to be a benefit.
Good, no, all right. Yep.
Where we,
Page 3.
what's that?
Page 3.
Okay, treasure. We're on page 3.
Yeah, top.
All right, so treasurer, 30,000, part-time employee, 3,500, social security, 2,400, hospitalization, life insurance, 12, pension contribution, 15, fringe benefits, workman's comp, 60, office supplies, 100, computer supplies, 500, state or tax statement preparation, 2,700, printing and publishing, 400, miscellaneous of 100, 0 for a capital outlay, 53,260. Village grounds, hall and grounds, full-time employees, 65, nothing in part-time right now. OPEB, not right now. You'll see some implementation of the OPEB accounts and some of the different line items in there because I'm trying to make it get to 400,000 of allocation. Okay. Hospitalization, 50,000, pension contribution, 39,000, fringe benefits, workman comp, 300, office supplies of 5,200, computer supplies expenses of 5,000. As you can see, we budgeted for those, but the SAW grant picked up most of it, so we're in the positive there. As part of one of our budget amendments, the sewer line item for federal grant that we discussed at the Monday's meeting will be moving down from it being a federal grant to a state grant. So I think the number right now is 501. It should be going down to 503. So that will be the budget amendment to that sewer because we budgeted for the expenses of that 5% match, but we didn't budget for the project portion of it. So that's why we implemented more numbers into the wastewater account, and then we'll be tailing it down as we get money back for the SAW. Operating supplies, 2,500. Legal, 22,000. Prosecution, 28,000. Auditing, 31. Contracted services of 20. Membership dues, 1,000. Phone, 8,000. Printing and publishing of 10,000. Public water utilities of 700. Public utilities, electric, 8,000. Gas of 1,500, along with repair and maintenance of 1,500, miscellaneous of 500, bank charges of 500. Bank charges come along when we have to do our annual year-end annual thing for Brzezinski's. I can't think of the name offhand, but every year we have to submit to Brzezinski's Corporation, the people that hold their bonds, and they always send it about 15 needed by December 31st. So we have to pay for some of the bank charges. What's that? Is that the air conditioner? I think so. For a helicopter plan. Grand total of $305,980. Contracted services, we didn't put anything in for that. That's where we're using. We were able to find funds. Also, I got to make sure that it's transferred correctly, but that's I think what we used for the paver stone patio, paver stone repairs, and all that kind of stuff. All right, full-time police department, full-time police chief, 64,650. Full-time police officers, 345. Overtime salary of 36,000. Holiday pay of 16. Social security of 40,000. Hospitalization and life insurance 120, 120,000. 110 for pension contribution. Fringe benefits, workman's comp 12,000. Office supplies at 2,500. 0 for drug enforcement. Operating supplies 4,000. Gas and oil 13,000. Laundry cleaning of 33,000. 100 for offender fees. Contracted services of 8,500. Contracted services for liens 700. 300 for memberships and dues. Physical examinations of 0. OWI expenditure 0. Telephone 14,000. Bell 911 maintenance of 2,000. Vehicle allowance of 100. Principal car. Where did I place it? All right, no, that's next line item. Principal car lease of 19,300. Publishing or posting of 500. Utility, electric 0. Maintenance repair 0.
So we bought those last 2 cars. We leased them?
We leased them for the 3-year lease. That's what we did the previous year. Then we
That's
had,
leased them all?
0, and then we bought the 2, leased them all. Maintenance and repair to vehicles of 5,000. Repair and maintenance equipment 2,000. Education and training 4,000. Miscellaneous of 3. Capital outlay of 4,200. And lease that previous year that was to help retrofit the police cars, the new police cars. That's what the was called, 227. So 0 there. Grand total of 827,150. Dispatch and communications, full-time 119,000. Part-time 32,500. Salary overtime 17,400. OPEB of 1,000. Holiday pay of 5,500. Employer and service security 13,000. Hospitalization, life insurance 48,000. Pension contribution of 17,500. Workman's comp 800. Uniform, laundry 300. 50 for membership dues. Physical examination 0. Viper system. As you can see, this is the last payment for our Viper system that we paid. We bought, 3 years ago, I think, or so. So that was the last payment, so that comes off a pretty good chunk of change there. Vehicle allowance of 350. Education and training of 3,000. With a grand total of 260,652. Fire and ALS is currently a little bit up in the air with 430,000 that I budgeted for. That was last year's number.
Any response?
We had a response that they're sticking to their numbers, and if not, they're gonna quit service to the village of Romeo starting June 30th.
Which was, the first number was 455.
Yeah.
So we'd be off by 25,000.
And was it, is there your option?
We asked for your option at 430, and they denied it. The letter.
Are we getting anything for another 25,000, or it's just, it's the same?
Same thing. Plus we're dispatching too, so.
So are you just putting it on, are we making a special meeting, or are you putting it on our regular meeting agenda?
Well, we talked to Edwards.
We're gonna meet with them tomorrow, so we'll let you know.
Oh, the subcommittee has a meeting scheduled with Bruce?
With Bruce.
So it says, thank you for the response of Fire Loss Committee and the Village Council dated June 1st, 2018. Bruce Township respectfully declines this offer. As stated in previous discussions, this amount falls far short of the funds necessary to operate the portion of our Fire ALS life support department dedicated to the Village of Romeo. We are not proposing a counteroffer at this time. We are self-reliant on our budget numbers. We propose this to you this far. If you would like to offer any further proposal or sit down and bargain, we are open to another meeting. If we hear nothing prior to June 20th, 2018, we will recommend to the board that we terminate service. Richard Corey.
One of the options that somebody might do is do a year contract.
That's an outlet.
We wanted a year contract at 4:30.
But it says if they don't hear anything by the 20th, it doesn't say we don't have an agreement.
We can meet tomorrow.
Right? We're meeting tomorrow, so they've already heard from us.
They did say in there, further negotiations, to discuss further negotiations, maybe something could happen.
We'll find out. We'll let you know.
Meet us in the middle.
Planning Commission salaries of 3,000, Social Security of 250, fringe benefits, workers' comp of 1140. But we didn't use any of that because it's such a minimal amount.
So is there 25, do you have an idea if you have to add, take 25? I mean, if they're at 450, whatever it is. I don't want to harp on it because we don't know what's going to happen at
That's
your
fine,
subcommittee
let's
meeting,
discuss.
but you have 25,000 you can pull from somewhere to fix this?
Why would we go 25,000 when we're going increments of 15?
I'm just saying, if that was their price and they're not willing to cut it, obviously we can't leave our citizens without fire ALS. So we may not have any choice. I don't know what options you have. I'm just asking, overall in the budget, if they're at 455 and we're at 430, do you have 25,000 that you can comfortably move to adjust this number so that we can still vote on the budget at our meeting on the 18th?
I don't know.
Okay.
Planning, Planning
Sorry.
Commission, professional service engineering 100, miscellaneous 100, grand total of 4590. Department of Public Works full-time 30,000. Full-time wages, DPW activity 3,800. Salaries overtime 700. OPEB 2,000. Employer Social Security 6,000. Hospitalization and insurance 40,000. Pension contribution of 25,000. Workman's comp of 4,200. Office supplies of 15. Operating supplies of 3,400. Gas and oil 500. Equipment and cleaning of uniforms. Uniforms, laundry and cleaning 2,900. Zero for others. Contracted services of 7,000. Insurance 0. Membership dues of 1,000. Physical examinations of 500. Physical, our phones of 4,000. Public utilities of 0. Public utilities of electric 4,000. Sorry, that was public utilities of water for 0. Public utilities gas 4,500. Repair and maintenance of 2,000. Vehicle maintenance of 1,200. Repair of equipment 500. Equipment rental of 4,000. Education and training of 1,000. 150 bucks in miscellaneous, and capital outlay 0, which gives us a grand total of 184,950.
Like, I don't know if I missed something, as far as additional money we're putting into the OPEB, is that?
Yeah. Well, what I'm trying to get
Per
us to.
department, or?
No, well, some of it's going to be coming over for that. What we needed, what I'm doing is trying to make sure that we're trying to get $400,000 in OPEB revenue
With
every year.
Oh,
Yes.
every year.
Yeah, so it's going to be 350 plus the miscellaneous, and then also the offset of the retirement health care at the end of our budget will give us a, right around that $400,000 deposit for our OPEB. That would get us, in 7 years, that will get us to our 40%. All right.
Yeah, now it's hoping that we're gonna get more money from the state, because that's, we're making it this year because we have that.
Yeah, well,
chunk of cash.
hopefully hopefully what we have is that we're going to be getting still collections from the personal property tax. All right. Also, 2 of our water bond comes off.
Okay.
So we have, I don't have the numbers here. I thought it was 130,000. After looking at all these numbers,
Is
that's that Ford bond.
Yeah, what's it?
19. So we'll have enough funds, and then what we can do when we get to that standpoint, we'll still have that amount of money in the water that, for the Ford bond out of our general. I think it's right in the general interest, yeah, right here, oh, 120,000. Right. So we'll have 120,000 right off the bat of our budget that we won't have to be paying for, and then we're gonna review this. So,
And hopefully the state will start.
and then what we can do is then hopefully when we're building our fund balances with a lot of our funds here, then we can start allocating more and more portions of that to it. Now, some accounts are restricted, like you can't, since our fund balance on our water is pretty good, that we can, that's very good terminology, right? Very good. Very good. Sorry. We can't just all of a sudden pull that huge chunk of money out and use it. It has to be allocated. So, we're good. Sanitary dumpster contract, that's 4,200. We always talk about that. Those are the roll-offs at the DPW and the wastewater treatment plant. All that trash comes from what is dumped in the cemetery and all the cleanup every week on all the dumpsters in the central business system. So those things get filled up pretty quick, especially during the summer months. Winter months, not as much, but as everything starts having a lot of walkability, all that kind of stuff, all that stuff gets dumped in those. Our waste management contract, it's at 270. I do believe we have 2 more years on that. I've not heard back from them when they wanted to try to figure out if, because China was not taking any recyclables. We talked about that briefly.
What's that, 950?
Yeah.
I guess there's stacks of plastic and cardboard in warehouses.
Because China won't take the recyclables because of the tariffs that were put,
Okay.
or whatever that were put onto China, they're not taking any of our recyclables. Well, now it's costing more for them to get rid of the recyclables. And they said, well, can we talk about maybe increasing? I said, no. You guys didn't do anything for us when we talked about lowering our gas amount when we signed the contract at $4 and we gave them $2.50. I said, who to them? So that's where we're at right now. So we got 2 more, I do believe 2 more years with Waste Management, which are great service. Tomorrow they might be picking up a little bit earlier because of all it's a tough, because garage sale day, it is terrible on them. So they're trying to pick up a little bit earlier. Sorry you won't see this until after the fact, but.
I couldn't tell what was early set up and what was trash pickup. That's what was driving me around, to be perfectly honest with you.
You want to pick something up?
Yeah.
Yes. Make sure you don't leave your stuff out close to the easement because people will just pick it up and think it's trash.
Right.
Lawnmowers, weed whips, that type of stuff. We've had that issue in the past. Salaries
Don't
for
get a
Historical
drink of
District
Advice, right.
Commission, 700, Social Security 50, Workman's Comp $10, operating expenses 250, 150 for contracted services, and 40 for miscellaneous, $1,200. Insurance is 65,000. We're doing pretty good there. Our little tiny, they give us numbers every year. Our numbers went down substantially. No work accidents, knock on wood. That type of scenario. So every time something happens or falls off, we get a better rate. And then all of our monies that we might pay like $7,200, but the MML's pool will give us back a certain amount every year. So hopefully there's not any catastrophic floods like that one year when all Warren got flooded out. The revenue coming back was smaller than the previous years. Going down to the debt services, 110 for the Ford bond, along with the GO bond, which is interest on that bond of $10,289, with a total of $120,298. DDA transfer of 11.5. Last page of the general fund. All right, transfer to the motor pool of 100,000. Transfer to retirement fund of 140. And then what we see here is line item 99.80. That's our OPEB trust fund, and we can talk about that right after we get done with the numbers here at 350. Our grand total for our revenues and expenditures balance out at $3.2,300,000. 35255. All right, so moving forward with the OPEB stuff, we have to set up a OPEB trust fund, okay? Right now, we're budgeting for it. So that's what the best thing that we're doing right now is budgeting for it so we can look at the numbers. Now, if you look at the retirement fund over here, we have the second page back. Actually, it'll be the third page. We are,
Third page back. or
sorry,
what
third
number?
page back, sorry.
Page 6?
Yeah. We're gonna have a fund balance, okay? Oh, that's motor pool, sorry guys, last page.
What number?
It'll be the very last page.
37.
Last page. Of 36,196, all right, maybe a little bit more than that.
Okay,
That's why
Page
we,
37?
yep,
Okay, 36,196, got it.
all right,
Okay.
36,196. So that's our fund balance for that. Now with the miscellaneous revenue that's coming in with the 350, we're trying to get to that point of making sure that we are budgeting for that $400,000 a year fund
And
balance.
what that would look, we discussed the other, is what, 500,000? There's 36 that you're putting towards roads, is that?
36.
We had about a 500,000 surplus, is that we're taking
Yeah.
the 350 from?
Yes.
500,000,
And then
36 of that
36 goes right to the municipal streets.
is to municipal streets. so
And that
then
will be
gives us-
closed out after the new year.
And
So,
then we have that balance.
yeah,
Okay.
so everything should be lining up the way we should have it. It's just making sure that everything is accurate, all the transfers are correct and all that type of stuff. That's it. We're looking really good right this second. We're gonna have a fund balance in we're not done with this, but we're gonna have a fund balance in the wastewater treatment plant for the first time ever, which is gonna be a positive there. A couple miscellaneous budget items. We'll have, of course, fund balances such as water, local streets. We have a fund balance. We have a little bit in we'll have money in the retirement health care, and we'll also have a little bit in the motor pool. So anytime we don't have to borrow from the motor pool or anything like that, because it is a rental account, it's not a real money account, but what it is renting it back. But as you can see in capital outlay, when we get to that here in a second.
Yeah, just go through it, so jump around.
All right, sorry. Motor pool, guys. Zero equipment sales. We should have everything ready to get the fire truck and the 2 old police cars on the market. Okay? They were just trying to make sure to take everything that they possibly could off of the police vehicles to make them legal for sale. Interfund revenue for DPW 4,000, major streets 19,500, local of 72,000, rental equipment of 10,000, municipal cemetery of 12,000, 0 for SDW, the sewer rental of 11,000, water of 32,000. Transfer from the general fund of 100,000, which gives us a total of 260,500. All right. Employees of 20,000, overtime of 500, Social Security of 1,800, hospitalization of 5,200, 4,200 for pension contribution, fringe benefits of workman's comp 550, operating supplies of 6,000, gasoline and oil 9,000. Uniforms and laundry of 5, auditing 0, insurance of 2,200, phone of 700, repair and maintenance of 25,000, education 0, miscellaneous 300, depreciation 0, and capital outlay. DPW needs 2 trucks. Wastewater treatment needs their truck. That one's about ready to fall off. It's bad. What we'll be doing is utilizing a purchase from the wastewater treatment plant to buy the older vehicle of the DPW, so we don't have to buy 3 news. Then look at a possible dually and another Ford pickup. for that. So we've got a couple
Is
bids
that
out.
in their budget? Did you budget that?
Yeah, but that's what that capital outlay would be. So we got lease of zero for bond, transfer to cemetery of 20,000. Gives us a total of 195,950. The vac truck payments, I don't know exactly how many years left we have on the vac truck, payment wise.
So you're looking
It's
at
getting
the
close.
capital
It's
outlay, the
gotta be.
100,000 is to buy the two
I think it was only
vehicles?
2 years.
Yeah.
It's getting real
And we're
close.
just gonna buy them out? Is that the best way to do that, or?
Yeah, I don't think the lease is gonna help us out with that, but we can look at it. So I got Tim looking at those stuff.
And that's kind of where, I mean, if we have that, we have to get them, but that's kind of where I would look at when I try to get us to do like a 3-year budget. Just like when we had to buy the system for the dispatch. You know, we should have been putting money away to buy that, or the vehicles, knowing, you know, the police department, we just bought a couple vehicles. We should start, you know, knowing that we're gonna need to do that ahead of time. I mean, fortunately, we have the money to be able to buy that, but, you know, had we not, we'd be sitting there without a plan to get those vehicles. You know, does that make sense? I mean, we
Yeah,
talked.
well, this is where we do have the 5-year capital. We have the 5-year, but I mean, they gave us an itemized list of exactly what needs are. Our needs, a lot of the needs aren't like today, tomorrow. It's what the wish list type of thing.
Because we know in 5 years, they're probably gonna need another vehicle.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
and we should be planning for those expenditures.
So we're moving on to, like I said, we don't know exactly, I can't tell you exactly how many more payments on the vac truck, but I know it's coming up soon. The 53,000 on the vac truck principal, and the interest of 4920 gives it 57,943. Transfer to the retirement health care of 3440 gives us a total expenditure of 257,633, which will have a fund balance about what, 1,800, I think, somewhere right around there. Okay.
So you're just saying, but again, we may not even buy those outright.
Yeah, so we might
decide to
have-
Put those in payments,
We
and
might, yeah.
we're gonna discuss that when you're just setting that money over there. All right.
Retirement fund, I think we told everybody before, we're gonna budget for the exact same number to give us, hopefully, the best outcome of keeping a fund reserve in there. So transfer to general, 140, 2,500 for major, local 7,800, 42 for municipal, sewer fund of 50,976, water fund of 17,000, equipment pool 3,520, total of 226,196, and hospitalization of 190, grand total of a fund balance of 36,196. So if we keep on that, and hopefully everything comes in completely correct, we should be damn near perfect with our budget. All right. Now, the other fund that I don't have for you guys, and it's gonna look just like this page, but 2 line items on it. Okay, a transfer in for revenue and a transfer out for OPEB trust fund. Where the fund number is right there of 727 for retirement, the retirement fund, it'll be fund 800. All right, so it'll be a transfer in and a transfer to it as an expense. So
Now,
it should.
Now, you're calling this the OPEB trust fund, but really all we're doing is parking money over there with our intent that that's
No,
where it's
we have to
gonna
set
go.
up a trust.
Okay,
So this is what.
so this money is gonna be earmarked and it will be irrevocable.
If it's in a trust, you can't pull it back out.
Right, so
Right,
it's gonna be
unless it's a complete vote of a majority, I think, or whatever, but it's going into a trust for that. We have to set it up with, I'm gonna talk to Mark about it, I talked to our auditors about it, what other municipalities are doing. Some municipalities, all right, which is something that we don't wanna do, and I do believe Paul Bailey was saying the same thing, is that they were taking that money, that deposit, and putting it into a MERS program. Well, tomorrow, that 350,000 might not be there. It might be 300,000. So putting it into an investment, it would be more beneficial to us to put in the long-term CDs gain an interest rate on it, because no matter what, we are not able to touch it anyways.
Right.
So-
And so you're putting it in a trust, just like, it's like retirement benefits and things like that. And again, people even sometimes don't borrow against that, which wouldn't want to do.
We
But
wouldn't do that.
that's where it is, we're putting it in with not the intent of it being.
Ever spent less than it needs to be.
So tell me, where did that directive come from? Did it come from the state when that said you have to set up a trust fund? And where did the number of 400,000 come from?
Well, 400,000, and we're trying to get to 40,000, 40% funded as quick as we possibly can, without killing us completely.
But I thought
And that's the plan
Paul
the
Bailey
state's
had
looking
said that
for.
there was some, he thought we may need to work with an actuarial to actually come up with what our liability was, because he wasn't sure at the last time
Well,
when he gave us
with
our audit report.
with our audited numbers, it shows us what our.
Seven something,
And
right.
when people die off on that, God forbid, nobody does, but people are getting older, that comes down substantially.
Right.
With the pension, where it tweaked so quick was because they did the death rate study, amortization, what's the term of it for guys? Not amortization, the death portion, death. People are getting older.
People live longer.
Okay.
Mortation.
Longevity.
Yeah.
Mortality.
Mortality.
Thank you.
Thanks for the
Yeah,
background.
5 cent word.
Mortality
Tables.
tables.
Okay.
So that tweaked us down, but then we're funding it more, and we're on that plan for 100%. This is hopefully going to give us the ability to be able to become 100% in a greater period of time, get us into that standpoint of being funded that 40%, and then continually having that money grow for us in the OPEB trust.
But when we got the response back from the state that said, sorry, we're not giving you the waiver that you
Yeah.
applied for,
Yeah.
were there directives on what they wanted to see? I'm just,
They're, what, they want us to do
Make a
a
plan.
complete
Right.
corrective action plan. What we've been doing
they
right
give you
now.
steps to follow, or they just said just,
I'd have to look
Put
at
on
it,
your thinking
I'd have to
cap
look at
and-
it again.
Okay.
But, I mean,
Well, they're asking us for a plan.
yes, and that's what the corrective, that's what we're gonna be implementing.
Okay.
Right now is what the first
In my
portion.
opinion, they're gonna take the best plan.
And what your plan
they're
is
gonna
gonna say
implement
that
better
this year we.
I just didn't know if they said you have to have a trust fund, you have to have this percent, yeah, something to go by.
It's gonna be a lot more elongated than that, because we're gonna have all the memorized numbers and all that kind of stuff moving forward. This is the best, what we're doing right now, what we have been doing is being completely transparent. Okay, that's the biggest thing that we've been doing. I've been doing things exactly the way the state wants them to be done. There's a lot of people in the state that didn't even fill out even a waiver request, or they're not being transparent at all. Everybody in Macomb County that were up being asked to submit a waiver, all were denied, all right? Fraser and Mount Clemens didn't even fill out a waiver, okay? I've been working with the other municipalities that are in that same boat, especially Centerline, wherever. I saw their plan. I was like, you guys are golden. You guys are gonna get the waiver. Not a chance. And they spent all this money and all this time putting this together, and they were just pretty much what they're asking everybody to do is, hey, give us a corrective action plan, just as we do with roads for an asset management plan for Act 51, asset management plan for sewer, asset management plan for what was the last one we just did? Oh, water liability study and asset management plan.
But I
So
think
it's all,
what Christine's asking, is there anybody that's giving us?
They didn't set a
advice?
guideline for us.
And-
They said nothing, give us a plan, and they don't care if it said we're gonna jump rope on Tuesdays and Thursdays for an hour, they didn't say anything, what to do?
We haven't gotten a response.
I got the response on the waiver, and what they said is we have to, within 180 days, we have to do it. I was working on this, trying to find our first portion of allocation, and then we can work on the corrective action plan.
Okay, maybe just for informational purposes, if it's not on our agenda, maybe you could just include a copy of that response in our packet, just so that we can see
That's
what the state did
And
say.
it sounded like, when I was talking to the other couple municipalities, that it's pretty much the form letter. Like, I think Centerline even got one that said they didn't give enough information.
I was
Honestly, you've
curious.
seen it, I think, maybe, I don't know if you've seen it. It's a friggin' book that they gave. And on top of it, they've questioned some stuff, but I will, I think it's more on
They wanna see a plan.
the.
So they just wanna see some.
And this is
kind of
what we
action.
did right now was the first portion of our plan moving forward.
But
So we
Paul,
did a
you
great
worked with
job.
Paul Bailey, and between the two of you looked at the 7 million, and he said, in 7 years, if you guys put X amount, 400,000,
No,
do a
it's my-
trust fund,
no,
you'll
that's-
be 40%. He helped you figure those numbers, or
No,
I'm saying, where did that
No, I
400,000
did
came
it.
from?
7,000 divided at 40% is $2.3 million. Divide $2.3 million by 400,000, it's gonna give you 7 years. Gives us to that 40% mark.
But that isn't, so that's a non-interest bearing, non-compounding.
That is not a, yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
That if we could take that money and put it in the high CDs or something that's a good money market or anything, something that doesn't rely on in 4 years, our economy tanking, and then we have nothing to show for it. That's where we want to make sure. We want to protect the cash that we do have.
Sure.
We're not going to have the huge gains possibly, but it's better than losing
Okay,
money.
right.
And I think we're pretty much in somewhat of agreement with that. So, yes or no? Yeah, all right. So, right now, that's what, so that OPEB account will be 800. You'll see it on our line item. We'll give you all that little spreadsheet at the very beginning of the packet. You'll be able to see all of that.
Because I'm sorry to go back on it. If we were to bond for that, any idea what the bond payment would be?
All right, so this is the one thing, all right? Every single community that I've talked to and what I've thought to myself, you do not want to bond for.
If we
Because
bought
what,
for
because
7
what you're
million,
gonna,
You can't ever get any of that back.
Right.
And what if we don't ever use it? So we're doing it this way, we're not paying it in full, we're not gonna lose money. Because if we bond and we paid in full, and we only use half of that, we still have to pay the rest of the
No,
bond.
I didn't know if we could bond for the 40%.
no, we don't
If
want to
we
do
could
that.
bond
because
for
we're
the
still-
2, because that's what the minimum is requirement, and then figure out the rest as we figure out how to fix
It's
our
not,
roads and
it's
the
not
other
the,
things.
it's
that
not
need
the
to be-
race to get there, it's about the correcting from the past that they want to see.
And if they'll,
Alright.
yeah, if they'll let us do it incrementally without having to pay in full, why would I pay interest on a bond, on something?
Principal and interest.
Let's just, if they're gonna accept this, I would rather just,
Only because we have some roads that need to be fixed, or some other infrastructure things that need to be addressed too. So I didn't know, if
Yeah.
freeing up that 400,000 to take care of that, and bonding, if we have $120,000
If we're
bond
gonna bond,
payments
if we're
coming
gonna
out.
bond for anything, we bond for
We
the
buy for
streets.
roads,
Okay,
But until we ever.
because those are gonna be there. You know, it's not.
because you're gonna use the money, right, for what the project costs. I get it.
Not for something that's outstanding. And I tell you what, there was some large language going out that we normally use when there's no cameras on, about that same question you said about the bonding. They were talking about the state bonding and then us paying for that outstanding OPEB, but that's the exact same reason why Illinois is in the way they are too. I think they did the exact same thing, so every municipality and state, and don't quote me on this, but are in that pinch, because I think that's exactly what they did. So,
I mean, they basically committed that this is how much you owe, and
this is how much you
that's
owe,
what
they
we're
bonded
paying.
for
And it doesn't
it.
matter if somebody dies off earlier or.
now you need less, you still have to pay it.
Right.
So, it's, I think that's the smartest thing that we can do, especially with that, what we've talked about is the great senior sell-off. We've talked about it here before, I believe. In 4 years, every planner in the United States is worried about the great senior sell-off. The millennials and the seniors want the exact same thing. These are condos. They don't want to live in these huge houses with mowing grass and all that kind of stuff. They want to live, workshop right in the same location. What's going to happen is every planner that put their name on these big subs around here, and nobody's going to be living in them, that's what's going to possibly bring our economy back down to below 2008. So that's what we have to really worry about. We do not want to be in that situation of bonding for something that on top of having to pay or put our monies into a stock market or something that could dwindle substantially. And that's a scary thing. It's a scary thing throughout the whole United States because that's what we're seeing. These PUDs that
Well, if you
are
look at crystal ball.
I know, I could rub it a little bit. But if we, Magic 8 Ball. But that's where people start talking about these PUD agreements, PUDs. It's great. PUDs are exactly what the future right now is wanting, right? The seniors and the millennials want that. But everybody thinks it's just a mass, huge development and and all that. But Texas, I lived in a PUD down there in Addison, beautiful place. You didn't have to leave the complex. You had all the restaurants, workout facilities, live, shop, eat, work, sleep, wherever all the same. That's exactly what everybody else wants right now. They want to go, especially the millennials that want to just jump to the next new job. They're not hampered down by cutting a lawn or by the grab a person and have to live in there or short-term lease type of stuff.
So we can lose tax on it.
If that's happened, one thing that we saw here in the village is that we have the walkability. We have exactly what everybody wants to market their community after. Work, we all leave, but we sleep, we have rec, walkability, all that type of stuff right there in that general.
The concern is a huge influx in recent of large homes for sale that nobody wants.
And that's
The
4 years
decrease
now.
in a future
They call it the silver spoon.
concern is that there's gonna be a lot of large houses with no buyers. The family's gone, and mom and dad want a condo in Florida, but they don't want this 3,500 square foot Washington Township
And I believe,
in Troy anymore.
and I believe because the recession hit us in Michigan 2 years prior to the rest of the United States, we felt it's early. I think we might still feel that early. That's where they try to attract all the talent to our location and area, and that's where people are wanting to build these PUDs and stuff like that. Try to get that talent to be able to come here, but it's hard to get the talent. It's like Amazon. Amazon's going to employ over 1,500 people. Do they have enough people to supply that? Our industrial district, as you saw that they came in for our IFTs, they're developing most of it, a lot of it's warehouse space, but they still are having problems trying to find valid people to even come and work. Like the Altiforms are talking about it and all the others. They're always looking, there's help wanted, there's always jobs, but finding that qualified employee or whatever, they're looking at. So. But we're looking good, all right, we're looking pretty good through everything we've
So before we adjourn on this, I did make the last meeting, now for the sidewalk, I didn't get a chance to look at the budget. Is that where you had some money put aside for sidewalks?
I think I had some for contracted services set aside.
Because I'm thinking, like, if we're doing this, we need like around 70,000 or something.
Yeah.
Is there anything
And I haven't
like
heard
that
anything
or-
back, I haven't heard anything back from,
Yes.
gas. They are working on it now. They filled a couple. But that was a big thing that I stopped by and actually chatted with them. I said, what did they have? The gas company didn't know how to shut down the pressure to then reconnect. So,
No, and I looked at my crosswall, and there was probably about 17 to maybe over 20 slabs. And every house at least had one that
well,
was
that's what,
gravel.
and that's what we said, that once I hear from Semco, we can definitely at least trigger the first segment that we threw out previously, the ones that were major, and then move forward.
Or even streets.
I think the
If
south,
they're-
I think that the northeast quadrant, I think is done.
Yeah,
We'll
so I
have to
mean,
check
if
with
they're- that
Semco
would
on
make
that.
sense, and then if they're gonna do another quadrant, we can follow the quadrants, because it would make sense if we broke it up into quarters. And like if Croswell's done, I don't know if you heard anything like his Tilson? Because we did get plastic
heard
lines
back
to our houses.
You guys got a little bit of it.
I don't know if
because
the
there was
main was
that.
plastic.
There was always that settling. We have some of the curbs are settling because of that. I don't know.
I know they put a plastic line in my house. I
Yeah.
don't know if the main was plastic.
I don't know if they borrowed the mains or not.
All right.
So
So they might
Which
still
they
Still
might-
waiting to hear back
Yeah,
on that.
so-
end of it.
All right.
we're hoping we
So,
get something. I think they were trying to figure out what the heck was going
We'll
on.
find out about the northeast
Because we
quadrant.
gotta figure out some kind of plan, whether it is even this the major, you talk about being walkable, we really do have to do something there.
Yeah.
Even
I think
if
we
it's the
need to
major.
first and foremost to implement the plan we have,
Right.
is follow ordinance and send letters to people.
But
to
is
get
the
them
money in the
fixed.
budget to do that? That's-
Well, the way it is now, it's then, if you do
Okay,
it that way,
50% of-
they're paying for it.
They're-
Because they actually
Percent.
pay, we actually reimburse them for like 81%, which is part of the administrative and stuff like that. So it's not just half, it's a portion.
But if it's
But
just
it's
this amount.
it's at our cost
Yeah.
that we get. So if they
I
get
think there's a
over-
recommendation,
if
I
they
said
get-
it before, and I'll say it again, I forget his name, you yell at me, he lives right over here on, next to,
Ridley?
yeah, Mr. Ridley, he had his raised, and it looks beautiful. I wanna stop and talk to him and see what it costs, and, cause I have some slabs in
Didn't
my
cost him
driveway.
anything, he did it himself.
Yeah,
He raised it himself?
Yeah,
He
Yeah,
drilled
just
it?
did one.
yeah.
I think they
I thought I
just
saw
crowbar.
drill holes in it.
No, I don't think so.
He came to the store.
It
Right,
wasn't
yeah.
drilled and
Right.
It was it?
I don't. I
No,
don't
he
know.
picked it up with him and some other guy did it.
Well, he did a great job. I'm
Yeah,
not
not too bad.
somebody.
Yeah, I saw it.
All right, so that's another discussion for a meeting, so we done?
Yep, we're good. And we'll
Okay.
go-
The whole business.
Adjourn?
Count, any other comments?
Okay.
Motion to
Motion.
adjourn?
Art?
Sport.
Art?
All in favor?
Aye.
Bye.